Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the High Ticket Coaching and Consultant Strategy and Growth Show. Now, if you're watching this interview anywhere else but within our private Facebook community called High Ticket Client Attraction Insider Circle, then definitely come check us out. We definitely love to have you. And that community was put together specifically for coaches, consultants, and service providers who are serious about getting up to that 6 and that 7-figure level. So if that's you, definitely come check us out. Now, today I want to introduce you to one of the members of our community, Stevie Dawn. Welcome, Stevie Dawn.
Hi, thank you so much for having me today. The group is amazing. People need to be there.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. So tell us what it is. Tell myself and the rest of the community, what is it that you do?
Yeah, so I am a speaker, author, and coach. A lot of my work is in helping corporations to engage their employees, have happier employees, healthier employees, that kind of thing. And then the other half of my work is really working with individual business owners to help them kind of create some unstoppable success and reach the places in their life where they're feeling joy and success all at the same time. Because I believe the two are intertwined and we need to go after both.
Awesome. Love it. So what about, what's your backstory before you got into coaching consultant type of the realm? What did you do before?
Yeah, absolutely. So I was in higher education. After I got my master's degree, I started teaching in the college classroom. I loved working with college students. And I did that for 12 years. Got my PhD studying emotional intelligence in leaders, and really reached a point where I just needed something new and something different. And so I went on the job market looking to make a change, and nothing really felt right. My husband was like, we don't have a lot of bills. We don't have kids yet. It's a good time if you want to do something a little out there. And so he supported me starting my own job, starting my own business, and ended up what started as just doing leadership development for college students. That's actually the business I jumped into. I actually found that there wasn't a ton of money in that at that moment. And so I pivoted and used all the leadership training and all the skills I have from all of my degrees to just try and help people. And once I made that shift, then kind of the world's opened and we started working with corporations and nonprofits, and then started working with individuals. And it's really been an amazing kind of journey 6 years later to see where we're at. But all started from the college classroom. I love to speak, so that made perfect sense.
Mhm.
And now I just get to speak to different groups of people, although I still speak to a lot of college students. So I guess in that way, I never actually gave it up. I just left the higher education institution to create my own.
Yeah, awesome. Powerful stuff. So what about in terms of the individuals? You said that you work with both individuals and corporations, right?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with individuals, one of the things that I became really passionate about 3 years ago, so I was about 3 years in, is I had really gotten a lot figured out. I still had a lot to learn in this game of entrepreneurship, but I had a lot figured out and I was feeling pretty successful. What I was noticing around me, though, is a lot of entrepreneurs who weren't. They were starting their businesses, but everything was a struggle. Everything was a battle uphill. And I had had those battles, but I had already overcome them. And so I decided, you know what, I need to help. I need to help. That needs to be where I spend my time. And so I shifted some of my resources and some of my marketing to be in coaching entrepreneurs to get to those 6 and 7 figures and beyond. Because I think that there are certain skill sets that we're not born with. We have to learn as we become business owners. And that was something I wanted to help them do. And so I kind of started with just a little group around me, just helping my friends, and then eventually was like, man, I should probably charge for this. And so then created a new revenue stream for myself in working with entrepreneurs. So I get to see both sides of the coin, and it's really a lot of fun.
Awesome. Now, what about COVID-19? Did COVID-19 did it affect business at all, or have you always been
Oh,
virtual?
yeah, so it impacted me tremendously. I would say about 90% of my work is live and in person. I do a lot of conference headlining and I speak at a lot of events. And so overnight, I lost thousands upon thousands of dollars when COVID went into effect. So this has definitely been a season of pivot and change for me, focusing a lot more on the individual side of my business because it can be virtual, and that's been really great, and we've been able to grow. We started a group coaching program. We're running some virtual events, all things I never thought I would do before now, but it has been a struggle. I'm being honest. It has not been easy, and a lot of our corporate work and definitely our conferences and convention work has not come back, and I'm not sure when it will. So it has been definitely a season of perseverance and grit to just keep going, because there were definitely some moments that it would have been easier just to throw it all away.
Right, right.
Yeah.
And what about the book? You said you've written a book, right?
Absolutely. I've written actually two books, and then I also have two kind of shorter workbooks that I also wrote. Not a writer by any means, but I do love to kind of get knowledge out there into the world. That's one of my passions. And so I have a book on networking, which is all about how to network your way into sales, because that's how I built my business. I built my business off referrals and relationships, and so the book kind of outlines how to do that. And then I also have a book called 0 to 6 Figures, and it really shows you my journey of how I went from the first year of making $0 to the second year of making $17,000 and thinking that was really cool, to the third year of making $158,000. And so I show kind of that journey and that progression and the choices I made along the way, and try and help people maybe find some of those same choices that they can make to get themselves to the 6 figures. So those are
Hmm.
my two books that I wrote, and I'm very, very happy to have them out in the world, but definitely a labor of love, because I am not skilled at writing. It has
Hmm.
to be a lot of hard work.
Yeah, awesome. Now, what would you say? What skill would you say comes naturally to you? Do you have any skills that comes naturally?
I think the skills that come naturally to me, speaking definitely in front of a group. That I've never been that one that had public speaking fear or any of that. I'm actually way more comfortable in front of an audience than one-on-one. I'm a dancer. That's been my life before I had to grow up and get a real job. I was a dancer, and so I love the stage. I feel comfortable on the stage. I mean, my parents named me after a rock star, so it's kind of a thing. So I think that comes naturally to me. The other thing that comes really naturally to me is seeing the potential in other people. I'm one of those that I can have a conversation with you, and within 20 to 30 minutes, I know where you have potential and where your superpower is, and I know what you can do to grow it. And so I think sometimes I'm that person who sees something in somebody that they don't see inside themselves. And that's something that I really love to share with people, because I think it's important that we believe in ourselves to find our greatness, but sometimes we need somebody else to kind of show us what that is, because we don't see it. So I love that too.
Yeah, awesome. Now, the book you said you wrote about networking.
Mhm.
Yeah, what is your view on networking? Yeah, tell us about networking.
Yeah, so I was, when I first started my company and I really had no experience on clients or finding people, the number one thing I knew I could do is I could go to networking events. And so I went to every Rotary, I went to every Chamber of Commerce event, and really networked with people. And what I noticed is that there are some people who network in order to get sales, which means that at some point in the conversation, they naturally turn it to a sales conversation, and then you're either a good prospect or you're not, and they kind of walk away from the conversation. I do networking differently. I do networking to build a friendship and a long-lasting relationship. So I don't talk about sales the first conversation that we have, and I'm okay having multiple conversations before we get to a selling conversation. And what I found through that is that those are the people that refer me more business. So my willingness to become a friend and just become a referral partner has served me a lot better than going out to network just for sales. So in my book, I kind of walk people through the process I take from introducing myself, talking about what I do, to asking them really good questions about what they do and learning as much as I can about them. And then really the key to making networking work for your business is follow up. I'm very rigid about my follow up. I have a process, a system. It's very automated, which I love. And I follow up with people all the time. So I still have relationships now, 6 years later, that are still referring me business. And we met 6 years ago. And that's because I continue to stay in front of them and I continue to stay top of mind. And that's what I think networking can do for us if we're really good at follow up.
Hmm. You said most of your follow-up is automated?
Yes, so I use a CRM, as many people do, but I have templatized emails. And so I go in every week and I know who I need to contact this week. And I pull up a template email that works for that person, kind of where we are in the relationship. I have several to choose from. And I just hit the send button and I send out those emails. They schedule times on my calendar. I have a little automated calendar link. They set up times on my calendar for us to have, well, right now, virtual coffee. But before it would be to actually have coffee or get a happy hour, go to lunch, and they would schedule time on my calendar. And then through those meetings, I'm just constantly getting new referrals and getting new business. But I have that whole process of connecting with them and following up with them all the time. That's all automated. I just have to push the button on the email and
Hmm.
choose the right one, but everything else is templatized and systematized. So my prospecting, if you want to call it that, process for my business takes me less than an hour a week for multiple six figures every year.
Hmm. Awesome, awesome. And are
Yeah.
those individuals you network with? I guess, how do you, when it comes to the networking side of things, how do you differentiate who to follow up with and who not to follow up with? Do you have a process for that when you
Yeah.
find that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think there's really two things that I look for in a relationship with somebody. So when I'm out and I'm networking and I meet them, number one, do I actually enjoy talking to them? Because if it's not somebody I want to have another conversation with, I just let that go, no matter who they work for, no matter where they're at, because they're not going to be a good partner, a good business partner or client if you don't actually like spending time with them. So that's really the first thing I look for, is people I connect with. And then the second thing is I'm always looking for people who I feel have a network that's very diverse. Somebody who I feel like knows a lot about different things, not just the same old things that I know about, so that hopefully through both of us working together, we can really impact different communities and different circles of influence. So I'm very particular about, if I go out networking, I don't try and see the same people every time. I try and go to networking in different areas. One of the greatest things about during COVID is I can network with people in different places around the United States because a lot of networking went online. And so now I have friends in Bethesda and I have friends in Florida, and now I'm getting business more nationally. And that's because I looked for going to things outside of my Dallas Fort Worth market, because I know a lot of people in the Dallas Fort Worth area, and it's kind of very a small town. Everybody knows everybody. So at a certain point, you want to start meeting people outside of that. And so that's always important to me, is to find somebody who also is in like a different industry, does something completely different from me, because that's going to give us a broader network to work with and to talk through and to partner with and refer, than if we're always staying in our same little industry pools, we're never growing. And so I really want that national, international reach, which means I need people who are different and who are in different areas. Another thing I always think about, though, when I go networking is I want to meet with the person who I feel like is willing to network. There are definitely some people you meet that aren't interested in having conversations and aren't interested in networking. So I always want to be with people who I also feel see the value of networking and drawing those connections together. And I really think of it as a partnership.
Hmm. Awesome. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, networking is one of those skills where it's like almost like a secret weapon, right? Because at the end of the day, they always say the person you need to talk to, somebody knows the person that you need, but it's not the direct connection. Is always like an introduction
Mhm.
to someone in their network, right?
Absolutely. It's always that, it used to be the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon type of phrase, but that idea of, I can be here talking to you and you may not know the person that I need to talk to at Coca-Cola Company, but you may know somebody who does. So if I can um, let you know how important what I do is and how much people need to hear the message, you're going to share that with your friends, and then they are going to be the person who introduces that person that I'm looking for to me. So it really is about being willing to know that it's a long-term relationship. And I think that's something people misjudge about networking. They think they should just be able to go out, pass out some business cards and get business. And networking really works when it's long-term. I mean, I have people in my network who refer me new business every 3 to 6 months. And so that one connection, that one person is probably responsible for $10,000 to $50,000 of my sales. And that's just because I was willing to continue to be a a connection partner with them. And I also was willing to serve them, give them some referrals and connect them to who they need. So if you can get good at networking, you can truly create an amazing business. And honestly, in a time of COVID, what I've seen in my own clients is the entrepreneurs who were great at networking continue to have business. The people who struggled with the follow-up and making sure they were top of mind for people, they've struggled because they didn't have the pipeline of people to reach out to. And in some ways, I'm doing better business now in some areas of my business, and I think that's all because I had the connections.
Mm-hmm.
And they're not like fancy, super fancy connections. I'm not like that, but it's just knowing people and being willing to keep in touch with people year after year, time after time, because that's how you really grow into some of the best referral partners you can ever find.
Mm-hmm. Awesome, awesome. Good, good. So what else is on the horizon for you? What are you currently working on?
Yeah, so well, we had to switch all of our events to virtual, so that's been a learning experience. So we have a virtual event coming up in a few weeks, which will be our first time ever doing an all-day conference type of thing as a virtual event. We've never done that before. So that's coming up. It's called Awesome by Default, and it's all about just success in life and success in business. And then the other big pivot we've made is I typically do a lot of so much traveling, and I'm kind of on the road all the time that I don't have a lot of time to do some of the one-on-one and kind of group coaching that I think a lot of people like and enjoy, but it means you have to kind of have a schedule, and that's never been easy for me because I've been traveling so much. So we decided that 2020 was going to be the year we launched a group coaching program. So we're doing a 6-month success coaching program. And hey, I am here and I can make a schedule because I'm not traveling, and so we're going to take full advantage of that. So those are two things that we're doing that are very different. We haven't done them before, but I'm really looking forward to using new technology and kind of really embracing that this is the situation we're in and it's not changing tomorrow. So let's make the best of it and let's make it good for business. And hopefully these are both things that we can continue to grow into in 2021, 2022 as things bounce back to normal. I'm hopeful that these aren't just Band-Aids, but they become new pieces of our business, which would
Mm-hmm.
be really amazing.
Awesome. And what about people-wise? What type of people are you wanting to connect with that you believe will help you see out that vision?
Yeah, so I really love connecting with people who are not okay with status quo. I like people who want to do more. They want to live outside the box. One of my favorite phrases is, it's not about living outside the box, it's about realizing there is no box. So I want somebody who's a no limits thinker, who is all about, yes, I can be a millionaire, yes, I can have all the success that I want, and I can be a super mom, and I can work for the PTA, whatever it is. I want people who really have that broader goal in life, that success and happiness can be together. Because I think sometimes we sacrifice our happiness for our success. And I really want to show people that you can have both together. So if there are people who are feeling like they're ready for that next level and they're really looking at, how do I really blow up? How do I take it big? How do I stop playing small? Those are people I want to meet because we always have the best conversations.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Now, what about your personality type? Are you introverted or extroverted?
Extroverted, hardcore,
Mm-hmm.
hardcore.
Yeah.
This has been hardest for me because I get my energy from people. And so because of being that much of an extrovert, I've really struggled in the quarantine because I don't get to see any groups of people except when I go to the grocery store, and that's really not the same. And so I've been really tired. I've been sleeping a lot, which is not like me. And that's, I think, because I'm so extroverted that I'm not getting any, and I get energy from this at least. Like I'm like, ooh, somebody to talk to, yay! And I get super energized. But the rest of my day, if I'm just like sitting behind a computer, that is not energizing to me. So yeah, I'm a super extrovert, hardcore.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Okay. Now, what about skills wise? What's one skill you'd say you've really practiced and honed in on that you believe has gotten you to where you are today?
I think one of the skills that um, I've really had to focus on and learn that I really struggled with in the beginning was definitely putting in systems and processes. I'm one of those people who naturally feel like I should just do everything myself, and I don't want to ask for help, and I don't want to automate, and I want to keep it all just me doing it. But what I found in the first couple of years of being an entrepreneur is I was burnt out, I was tired, I was working 18-hour days and making no money, and it sucked. And so what I really had to learn was how to put systems into place, so that I can delegate things in my business, so I can automate things in my business, so that I can do the things that I'm really good at, which is not necessarily writing emails or sales copy, but really where I need to be is talking with people, working with people, and speaking. And so I think the skill that I had to learn the most in business, other than sales, sales is always a skill people need to learn. But other than sales, it would really have to be that I had to learn how to use systems and how to trust systems, how to be okay with automation, how to do the same thing over and over and over again, because that's called business. And that's not my spirit, right? My spirit is more, let's make it different every time, let's tweak it, but that doesn't make for a successful business. So I had to learn how to do that, and that definitely was a struggle for me. And now when I see other people struggling with that, I feel like I know what you're going through, I can help you. Because it's really hard if you're not a systems-based person to try and put all these systems into place in your business. I think that's a skill that I really struggled with and I really had to learn, but definitely something I would tell other people. That's a place where you can really change the game in your success and your revenue, is if you can put in systems.
Hmm. Now, do you have any key places where you realize is important to have those systems in businesses? Do you have any key areas?
Yeah, managing email and calendars would definitely be one for me. I remember in the beginning, just like my calendar was all over the place and I was like double booked sometimes and all of this. So getting all of that automated and taken care of was a really big one for me. Just handling all the emails you get as a business owner, knowing how to filter the emails, how to only focus on the emails that you really need to focus on in that moment. I think those are key places. The other thing that I think will really help people in business as far as the systems go is the system for prospecting and a system for sales. Those are the two things you need to be doing in your business all the time: prospecting and sales, prospecting and sales. So having them built into a system that's always repeatable, that can work on autopilot even if you're not in town, that's really, I think, critical to reaching those higher level milestones of success. Because if it's always you doing it and it's always you who has to push the button and it's always you who has to be there, eventually you're going to hit a ceiling cap of how much revenue you can really make and how many clients you can serve. So I see that especially with consultants, right? How do we automate our sales process? How do we automate our prospecting process so that we can go consult and not be stuck doing some of those other things? So those would definitely be two areas I would encourage people to look at in your own business, is the sales and the prospecting. How can you make systems there? And then make sure you have a system for your calendar and your email, because those are things we get sucked into and drain our energy.
Awesome. Love it, Stevie Don. Well, hey, thank you so much for sharing all of this wisdom here. Now, if someone wanted to connect with you, what's the best way for them to be able to do so?
Yeah, the best way, honestly, is to find me on social media and message me. You can send me a direct email, but honestly, I probably spend more time on Facebook and LinkedIn than I do on email some days. So connect with me on LinkedIn. It's Stevie Don Carter or Stevie Don Blakely. Um, Carter is my married name, so it's new. So my LinkedIn account is still under Blakely, but you can find me. Just go Stevie Don. There's really not very many of us. So you can find me there on LinkedIn, and on Facebook, it's just Dr. Stevie Don. And message me through any of the platforms. I'm also on Instagram and Twitter and all the things. But if you message me on any of the platforms, I would love to connect, and I'm always hanging out and available.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. Well, hey, thank you again for stopping by and sharing what it is that you're up to and what it is that you do. And guys, all the links Stevie Don just mentioned to get connected with her, they will be either right above or below this video. So if you're watching this on the replay or on the live, you can go ahead and click and get connected right to her. So Stevie Don, hey,
Awesome.
thanks again. Do you have any final thoughts before we end?
No, thank you so much for having me. And just everybody, if you're feeling that COVID struggle right now, know that you are not alone, and this too shall pass, and your business will outlast this virus. That's what I keep telling myself. So cheers to everyone, and good luck, and God bless. Yeah,
Awesome. Thank you. Well, enjoy Stevie Dawn. We'll talk soon. Okay.
absolutely.
Awesome. Have a good one.